On this episode of AMA Air, see what happened at a historic air modeling event.
Also, find out when you should receive information about AMA's annual election.
And find out who will be one of the guest speakers at this year's AMA Expo West. All that and more on this episode of AMA Air.
Hello, and welcome to AMA Air, your source for modeling news. I'm Chris Savage.
And I'm Claire Aldenheisen.
Claire, how do I look? Do I still look weird?
No, you look so picture perfect right now.
That's fantastic. So I was told just a few minutes ago by Dylan that I looked weird today. So I'm glad to know that at least from your eyes.
I don't think you look weird at all.
That's good. And all of our viewers can just make a note to themselves, and we'll just move on from there. Well, to get started, World War I, World War II, and golden era warbirds of all shapes and sizes gathered in Muncie, Indiana in late August for the annual Indiana Warbird Campaign Air Show. The replicas of military and classic aircraft ranged from the earliest days of flight to modern jet aircraft. There were noontime air shows on August 30th and 31st, and even a D-Day invasion mission. Mark your calendars for Labor Day weekend next year so you can attend the event at the International Air Modeling Center.
3 U.S. pilots recently competed in the 2019 FAI F1E World Championship for free flight soaring model aircraft. The contest was held in Martin, Slovakia and took place August 25th to 28th. Team USA finished 10th overall, with the top team finisher being Bob Seifleet, who finished in 8th place. Poland won the team championship.
Each fall, AMA holds elections for district vice presidents and sometimes other positions within AMA, such as president and executive vice president. AMA members should start receiving their paper ballots in the mail this week. Be sure to watch for yours. All ballots must be mailed and postmarked by November 12th.
In a previous episode, we let you know that a historic event that reunited competitors from many years ago was taking place. Our staff traveled to this event, the Tournament of Champions Reunion and Freestyle Invitational, held in Toone, Tennessee, and we want to share some of what took place at this gathering with you. Let's watch. Look for an article about this event in a future issue of Model Aviation magazine.
So you guys did a lot of work at the museum, as I understand, around the Tournament of Champions, because this was kind of a big deal that this event was coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. The Tournament of Champions was a really cool event. I did a lot of research into it, but my favorite part about it was the clothes.
Really?
Yes!
Okay, so explain. How so?
Okay, let me explain. So, everybody associates the things at the museum with airplanes, right? Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, obviously airplanes. We have so much more than that. And one of the things is apparel. And these hot pink circus jackets were the perfect item to wear to the Tournament of Champions. And they're amazing.
So was this like, did everybody get one? Or was this like a select group that wore these?
I don't really know.
Okay. Well, that might be some interesting viewer mail for us.
If you look on our Facebook page, you can see that some of the attendees wore their hot pink jackets, and they looked amazing.
That's pretty cool.
I want to bring them back.
There's no missing that. That's for sure. Well, up next, let's take a look at some other upcoming events and learn how you can find one near you.
And still ahead, learn who will be a guest speaker at this year's AMA Expo West and how you can skip the long line at the door. The Military Aviation Museum in Virginia Beach, Virginia will host the Mid-Atlantic Dawn Patrol event October 2nd to 6th. The dawn of flight to 1939 will be celebrated, and the $40 landing fee includes museum admission.
Hot Air Huckfest, an RC aerobatics event, will take place October 3rd through the 5th in Albuquerque, New Mexico. This is the first year for the event. Pilots will be competing for the Best Hucking and Best Freestyle awards.
A Missouri club, the Sedalia RC Flyers, will hold its second annual toy drive, fun fly, and swap meet, October 5th, to collect new toys for local children for Christmas. The event takes place from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Missouri State Fairgrounds. Unlimited gas, F1 Pro, F1 GT, and Sportsman classes will be contested at an RC pylon racing event in California City, California. The Race of the Champions will take place October 9th to 13th. Something spooky will be happening October 10th to 13th in Galion, Ohio. The 2019 Eagle Squadron Spook Fest is a fun fly with door prizes, raffles, a costume contest, an FPV course, and lighted night flying.
The Angelo RC Club's 38th annual outdoor fly-in will be held October 12th and 13th in San Angelo, Texas. Pilots can play games with their aircraft, participate in a raffle, and enjoy plenty of fun flying. For more information on these events or to find one in your area, you can check out the sanctioned event calendar in Model Aviation or at modelaircraft.org.
After the break, find out who will be one of the guest speakers at AMA Expo West this year and how you can get your tickets to the event early.
Every journey starts somewhere. Our journey begins with imagination. And imagination can take us anywhere. Because the best journeys end with new beginnings.
Did you know that you can buy tickets for this year's AMA Expo West in advance? Buying them online at amaexpo.com before the show saves AMA members money and time in line at the door. AMA Expo West 2019 takes place November 1st through the 3rd in Pomona, California. One of the guest speakers at this year's show is Eric Boehm, the curator of the Intrepid Sea, Air, and Space Museum in New York City. Let's learn more about Eric's connection to air modeling.
Eric Boehm, AMA number 71037, and I am currently the curator of aviation at the Intrepid Sea, Air, and Space Museum in New York City. I think like a lot of us in this hobby, we got started with our dads. And my dad was a lifelong modeler from the late 1930s through the 1940s, and model airplanes were always in our house when I was a kid. Yeah, I always blame model aviation for my life's trajectory. I always wanted to be a pilot, and I just didn't have the skills, and it just wasn't in the cards for me. But I always wanted to be around aviation. I ended up enlisting in the Air Force just to be around airplanes and become an airplane mechanic. But models were always a part of my life all through all that. I ended up with a history degree, and with that history degree, I now work at the Intrepid Sea, Air, and Space Museum. Where else would an airplane mechanic with a history degree work? But especially if you want to be in New York City. Currently participating in control line, but I've done them all, and I kind of bounce back and forth. It seems like every 5 or 6 years, I change my mind about my interests. So I've done RC, free flight, and control line, and built hundreds of airplanes, and even an RC boat. My other big hobby is a vintage British car. I have a 1974 Triumph TR6, and I always wanted one when I was a kid working in a gas station. My first job to support my model airplane hobby, I got a gas station job. But I remember one pulling in the early 70s. I said, I got to have me one of those. And I eventually got one, but it's a lot of work. I probably spend more time fixing it than driving it, but that's part of that hobby. Old British car, you better be ready to start working. My influence is initially my dad, and probably always my dad, but there's always been somebody else who enters my life that has kind of like that father figure. Even when my dad wasn't around because of distances, like when I was in the Air Force, there was always somebody, whether it was a supervisor or something, that would influence me. So it's always been a father figure, and it's always been aviation related. You know, I have a list. Someday I have to build one of those lists, but usually it's just it's kind of like a love at first sight sort of thing. Sometimes it's a scale model. Sometimes it's the lines of a control line stunt model. It's just, wow, I got to have that. And there's just that bucket list thing. There's a free flight model from, well, I think it was from the late 30s or 40s. It was called the Snow White. It's just this beautiful, it's the epitome of a free flight model airplane. It was huge, gas-powered thing, and it's just beautiful. And that's probably be the last model airplane I ever built. But late in life will probably be that Snow White.
Make sure you buy your tickets early to save money and time at the door. And don't miss Eric's presentation at AMA Expo West. So I have a few friends that have been to the Air and Space Museum in New York City. And apparently it is super, super cool. And that's got to be, in no small part, thanks to all of Eric's work. So I'd be really excited to hear what he has to say.
Did you know our museum actually has a connection to the Intrepid?
No, I did not know this.
So a couple years,
fill us in.
Well, let me tell you all about it. So a couple years ago, the Intrepid had an exhibit about drones, and the featured artifact was our OQ-2A.
Really?
Yeah.
So what is the OQ-2A?
The OQ-2A is a target drone that was made at the Radioplane factory in California and maybe was assembled by Marilyn Monroe.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
How cool is that?
That is pretty cool. I like it. Well, that's all for this episode of AMA Air. You can stay connected with us by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
For even more videos, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And from all of us here at AMA, thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time, but for now, it's time to get flying.